Hey everybody, it's Golgari, and welcome back to another premiere draft of Final Fantasy MTG. Without further ado, let's get into the pack one. Pick one, which is a really bad opening pack here. All of these uncommons are just okay or pretty narrow, like Phoenix Down and Barrett Wallace, and then the Thief's Knife is the one that's just okay. The rare is not good in draft. At 6 mana, you can start getting more mana. That's already the end game in a 1v1 format like draft. So that leaves us with the commons, where we have a couple okay removal spells, Suplex, Stuck, and Summoner's Sanctum, or just like decent value plays like Marlboro's a 2-for-1, Call the Mountain Chocobo's a 2-for-1. Not an exciting way to start the draft, but I will go ahead and grab some good removal here with a Suplex. Pick number 2. Nothing super great in this pack. The rare is pretty good, but being 3 colors is very, very restrictive. Which does leave a bit to be desired for sure. That said, I think the rest of the pack is still weak enough. We could just go for the rare here. Alternatively, we could go for Garland here, an aggressive Rakdos deck. This is a pretty powerful card. For the mana cost, you're getting a 2-mana 3/2. You're surveilling off all your non-creature spells, and you're getting a big 5/5 later in the game with flying. I think Garland's also pretty reasonable with Suplex, and I have played multiple Choco decks already. So maybe we'll do our first Garland deck in a long time here. Move towards Rakdos. Pick 3, we got solid efficient removal spells like Chocobo Kick and Vane's Treachery. We'll obviously take the on-color one with our Garland. Grab Vane's Treachery. There's not a lot going on here, pick 4. I mean, a 5-mana 5/4 haste is fine, but pretty filler. Chocobo Kick is great removal in green, but that would be if we get pushed off of one of our colors here between red and black, then we use green as a backup color. It's probably the safest pick. Shinra Reinforcements and Dreams of Laguna are both very good in the right deck. I find that You're Not Alone, Dwarven Castle Guard also can be really good in the aggressive white decks, but I don't think there are really reasons to speculate off color, at least off the blue and the white cards. And then Shinra Reinforcements, the deck that it's really good for is like green-black and blue-black self-mill, not really red-black, although I suppose it does work with Garland, so we could get some graveyard synergies that make the Shinra Reinforcements there decent. For pick 5 now, we've got Resentful Revelation as a solid card draw spell out of black. Just deceptively good, works well with all of the graveyard synergy effects. And it's card selection, 2 pieces of card selection for a pretty efficient cost. I mean, Anticipate has been a decent draw spell for years, and that's 1 in a blue instant. Look at the top 3, put 1 into your hand, and that's it. There's no flashback on it. So the trade-off here is this one's a sorcery instead of an instant, but you actually get a flashback, so I'm excited about that. Vaughn has been much less impressive than I'd hoped for. Just because there are so few creatures of the same type as him to actually get those triggers going, and as a 3-mana 2/2 with no built-in evasion, it's very unlikely you can get him to hit just all by himself. So Vaughn is not a high pick for me at all at this point. Pick 6, what is a pretty high pick for me, is Magitech Infantry. I think this is one of White's best commons. Very good when you get multiple copies. However, we are already deeper into black than anything else, and the Final Days is really good in the black decks that have a lot of self-mill. We have a tiny bit with Resentful Revelation here. Kind of wish I took the Shinra Reinforcements now, because Final Days is a really good payoff if you can fill your graveyard quite a lot. Just make a whole army of horrors late into the game. Pick number 7 here, we got a Fat Chocobo out of green. This is pretty late for that card. I'm definitely into it, so green-black is our backup plan, going for Golgari self-mill. Alternatively, we just take some black-red fixing, but outside of the Suplex pick 1 and Garland pick 2, we have not seen a particularly good red card in a long time, so we haven't seen any signals saying that red is particularly open in this pod. We just kind of started in red, so I think I'm happier to move towards the signals here of taking the cards in the colors that are getting passed to us at this point and potentially ditching red. Pick number 8, Reno and Rude has some fun synergies, but we can also just take the Golgari land, which is pretty good. Green-black's also really good at splashing in strong bombs and stuff, where a card like Blitzball can help a lot. I don't think the A tier and pre-1 is particularly good. There's a lot of these like big, rare, and mythic equipment that are just so expensive to play and equip that they're super, super narrow. It's an 11 mana investment before it does anything. I'm just going to take the green-black duel here. I think that's the most reasonable, just consistently good card to take. Pick 9, I'm really happy to be in black because both Shinra Reinforcements and Marlboro are solid cards. Seeing as we are a Final Days deck, though, I'll go for that Shinra Reinforcements here. Pick number 10. Bard's Bow is a bit of a nombo with the Final Days. We really want all of our creatures to actually count as creatures when they're in our graveyard as well. So I'm not very high on the Bard's Bow here, to the point that I would take Gungaga over it to be able to splash in maybe a suplex if we're super low on removal, but mainly taking that as speculative fixing in case we get past some kind of really good red rare or something later on. Second Shinra Reinforcements is cool with me. Airship Crash is a fine filler playable, as is the Blitzball Shot if we don't make playables naturally. So pack 2, pick 1, we have 2 excellent black removal spells, Cornered by Black Mages and Sephiroth's Intervention. We have a very strong job select build around with Firion. However, our black spells don't work great with job select cards. The Final Days, again, wanting all of our creatures to be creatures and not equipment spells, and Boros is really the best spot for this, where you can get tons and tons of job select equipment. So I think Firion's not going to fit super well with what we're doing here, and that's not to mention that I don't think red is super open. So I'd rather just take one of these excellent black removal spells, or the Fat Chocobo is good too, but we're definitely going to take removal here. I'm going to go for the Sephiroth's Intervention here. Sephiroth's Intervention is better at dealing with exactly what you want to deal with, because you're choosing the target with it, but Cornered by Black Mages is more efficient. It's giving you some material on the board. It's only 3 mana instead of 4, but you are not able to kill exactly what you need with that card, and I think that's pretty important in the set. Both the cards still really good, but I think Sephiroth's Intervention gets the nod by a little bit, especially in green-black. In red-black, where you do have a lot of ways to ping your opponent with your Black Mages and stuff, the Cornered by Black Mages might actually be better in that archetype. So what do we have here? Tymna seems pretty good, but we have to splash them in off of white. So every turn we deal combat damage to opponent with anybody, we can pay a life to draw a card. I just really don't think that there's anything on color that's any good here. I mean, there's the greens, I guess, as a flashback creature, so it's a fine card to mill, but certainly not like pick 2 worthy. So speculative pick on the Tymna here. We might not even play them, but we'll see. Pick 3, Lightning Bolts we could play off the splash, or we just take the on-color Cornered by Black Mages. I'll take the Cornered by Black Mages here. Pick 4, another Fat Chocobo seems great, but so does Vane's Treachery. Go real deep on the removal. Really want to cut this Airship Crash because I have so many other removal spells that are more flexible. I'm very low on creatures right now, and Final Days needs a ton in the deck. Doing decent on removal, Treachery, Chocobo Kick, Cornered by Black Mages, and Intervention. I kind of think I have to take Fat Chocobo over Treachery, even though Treachery is the better card in a vacuum. Pick 5, Colosseum Behemoth's great at the top of the curve, but Town Greeter's really good with the Final Days and with anything that cares about the number of cards in our grave. It's also lower on the mana curve. We can fit more of those cheap cards into the deck than the big ones. However, I do think Town Greeter's a little bit easier to get duplicates of throughout the draft than it is something as impactful as Colosseum Behemoth. So I'll take the Colosseum Behemoth. It's very close between the two, though. Pick 6. No respect for Choco. Played a lot of Choco decks. Had a great time with it every time. Guess we got Prisha's Wanderings here, but there's really not much in this pack. Guess I'm just on that. I can take Black Mage's Rod because I'm so low on creatures. We might be getting to the point that we're so low on creatures we just have to not play the Final Days. But this is worst case scenario 4 mana for 2/2/2 still, so we'll probably still run it. Take that here. Pick 7, Side Quest, Raise a Chocobo. If you can get 4 birds on the board, this card's incredible. Otherwise, just 2 mana for a Chocobo is fine. One thing I don't like is it is a non-creature spell that counts on our creature curve, so it's not helping the Final Days. But multiple Fat Chocobos here. Try to live the dream. It's probably just better to take Marlboro. Unlikely to live that Chocobo dream. No, but then we get Bartz and Boko. Pick 8 is wild. All right. So this is very good if you have a single chocobo on the board. This will hit the board and then deal like 3 damage to whatever you need to shoot. But you do need a critical mass of chocobos. Now I'm very disappointed I actually didn't take just the 2 mana 2/2 chocobo. I didn't expect to end up playing a card that specifically needs chocobos, but here we are. This is actually probably fine between the Rod, the Final Days, and some potential chocobo production, 2 fat chocobos, and anything else we draft. Pack 3. Pack 3. The Earth Crystal is egregiously slow, but it will win the game if it goes incredibly long. I think it's too narrow for my tastes. X-Death is fine here. 3 mana, 3/3, gain 3, and then it's a big finisher. After we self-mill, Shinra Reinforcement's definitely good. Fang, I don't think we're quite there for Fang. I have like 1 flashback card, but Fang can be a really good value engine if you have a bunch of flashback and reanimation. I guess I'm on X-Death or Shinra Reinforcements. I'll go for the X-Death here. Kind of a less replaceable effect. Pack 3, pick 2. We could splash in Squall if I'm already splashing in white for the Tymna. Alternatively, we take a second X-Death, and that gets pretty consistent. Or a 3rd Fat Chocobo. I like all 3 of these options a lot. I think I'm going to go X-Death here. Let's just lock in on the pure Golgari consistent self-mill deck, and what is a great card for that? Vanille right here. 4 mana for a 3/2, mill 2, then return any permanent from your grave to your hand, so really good with other self-mill as well. So the Shinra Reinforcements into Vanille curve is great. Happy to take her here. Pick 4, we get the best 1-drop in the set, Saza's Chocobo. 1 mana 0/1, but it has landfall, so if you have it in your opening hand, it is a must-be-dealt-with card. Your opponent's going to have to spend removal on it by the end of the game, taking that over Chocobo Kick, because we've got a solid amount of removal here, thanks to mainly just playing black. Pick 5, another Resentful Revelation is nice, filling that grave and giving us card selection at the same time, although the T-Rexar and the Shoe Puff are good endgame plays. Pick 6, Sephiroth's Intervention and cornered by Black Mages here still. Wow, alright, we got double cornered and double intervention, I guess. Come on in. Double Vanille, let's go. More self-mill is absolutely welcome here. Taking it over a Chocobo, sorry Bartz and Boko. We might even have to cut them. 3 Chocobos in the whole deck. I mean, they're still like a 4/3. That is pretty bad without Chocos. I'm going to cut this Airship Crash and the Blitzball Shot now and just run all these premium spells. Pick 8. Okay, I guess Chocobo Racetrack technically synergizes with Bartz and Boko, but that's getting Chocobos out really late in the game. I don't think that's super good in this deck. We also don't really have any ramp in here for it. Yeah, I'm probably not playing any of this. I actually think the Omega or the Forayer are the most likely. But those are also probably not getting played. Pick 9's an easy Shinra Reinforcements. Pick 10, Monk's Fist, just get a 2-drop in here. A little sad it's not a creature for the Final Days, but technically that's the only card we have in the deck that cares about being specifically a creature. So we'll work on that curve a little bit. Now we get a 1/1 Death Touch. Happy with that. Another Chocobo Kick. Am I happy with that? I have 6 removal spells already. Probably okay with it. But it will be one of the first cuts if I need to cut quite a few cards here. I think I need to cut like 4. Alright, let's double check the sideboard here. Yeah, nothing on color I'm interested in. I could go a little rampy with a Blitzball and an Omega off the splash, but I think we've got a solid synergistic core to the deck already, so I'm not going to do that. Now, this is 15 actual creature spells. I could cut all of our 2-mana equipment. Just have no 2-drops in this deck. It's 2 1-mana creatures and 6 3-mana creatures. Probably not insane. It's weird, though. The Gourmet is still good with our 2 Cornered by Black Mages, our Final Days, and our 2 Fat Chocobos, so I think that's still fine to run, but it could be the next cut, because it's, what, like 5 cards total that synergize with it? A little bit low, if we're cutting the equipment. I probably am cutting one of the Chocobo kicks over any of the creatures here. It's the weakest of our non-creature spells. Sure. Very bread and butter Golgari deck here. We're certainly trying to mill ourselves a lot between Shinra Reinforcements and Vanilles and Resentful Revelations. So that's a solid amount of ways to get some permanents into our graveyard. That's going to help Vanille have a lot more options to be a good card advantage play, a good card draw play. That's going to help fuel the Final Days, putting a bunch of creatures in our grave for this to be a big finisher in the late game. And of course, just trading creatures off over time helps this card as well, so it's just really good super late in the game. And that's also going to help the 2 X deaths flip into some major threats, very, very large. By the time they flip, they're at least a 6/3 trample, and then we have plenty of removal to back our big threats up and try to get them through for lethal double intervention, double corner by Black Mages, Treachery, and Chocobo kick. Solid, simple green-black deck here. We'll see how it all plays out for us as we hop into the gameplay. All right, here we are. I think this is my very first time with turn 1 Saz's Chocobo, so I'm excited about that. But this could just die to removal immediately. I think that's what happens most of the time my opponents play Saz's Chocobo, because if I have removal in the opener, you know what I'm shooting with it. So let's hope they don't have removal in the opener. If they're a red deck and they don't find removal till later, that's kind of the perfect matchup for the Chocobo. Because if they don't find the removal till, you know, turn 5 or something, this thing's already got 6 toughness. And their cheap burn, like the 1 mana 2 damage or the 4 mana 4 damage spell, or the 2 mana 3 damage spell, won't be able to deal with it. They're black-white, not a great matchup for the Chocobo. It is definitely going to die at some point, because it is kind of irrelevant how high your toughness is against those colors most of the time. There's cards like Sephiroth's Intervention, obviously, that destroy any creature. Cards like the White Auracite that exile any permanent. They don't really care how big the creature is, they're going to kill it every time. That's a 3 mana 4/1. That's pretty hard to attack through. Missing the land drop here is pretty devastating. Is it worth spending the turn just to Revelation here? I don't think so. If I'm missing land drops here, this Chocobo is not likely to get too much bigger. I have to wait till 2 more lands to be bigger than the 4/1 that the Greatsword made. I think we still attack with Chocobo. I kind of don't want to attack with X-Death, though, because this Chocobo is somewhat likely to trade off. And then I've got a bunch of self-mill between Reinforcements and Revelation here. Okay. Makes me want a Reinforcement since the trade does go off. I think if the trade didn't go off, I might have gone for Revelation here. But since the trade happens, we have at least 1 permanent grave. Reinforcements makes 2 more. That's 3 out of 6 for X-Death. If I get really lucky off of a second Shinra Reinforcements, we could flip it next turn, but that's highly unlikely. Take some flying damage here, down to 22. Life gain going pretty hard. We do hit land for turn. So it's got to be just Shinra Reinforcements for sure, right? Yep. She flips in the end step, right? Yeah. So even if I hit 3 permanents off of this mill, I don't get to attack till next turn. Hey, that's pretty sick. So we can't attack into the Magitech armor. They can crew that for only 1, and it's a 4/4 on blocks. So we have to wait. But now they have to throw removal at Neo X-Death Dimension's End. There's one of the best removal spells in the whole format. One that also spits out a 5/6 dragon later if they get 3 treasure tokens. And it gives them a treasure token every time they kill one of our creatures during their turn. Sure, we've made it back down to 20 now. Land 5 is a beautiful draw. We get the fat chocobo out here. This Magitech armor is a frustratingly good blocker. Colosseum Behemoth will be awesome against it, but we have to wait till 7 mana for that? Oh my god. Disgusting. Incredible Bomb, rare Saga creature. Primal Odin has arrived. So we have to chump block that next turn, or we automatically die. And I have no reach. So I literally just die. They give it flying, and it kills you in 1 hit. When this deals combat damage to a player, they lose the game. Well, that's silly. All we can do is hope Revelation finds cheap enough interaction like Chocobo Kick here. Cornered by Black Mages doesn't do it, they just sacrifice the 1/1. Or the vehicle, either way. Absolute comedy! We're 1 mana off from having a chance this game. That'll do it. One 1 heading into game 2. Here we are for game 2. Horrible opening hand. Force Mold down to 6. We will keep this one. Keep the double black for cornered in black mages. Or cornered by black mages. Lead with X Death again, because that's the better attacker immediately, just the 3/3 body instead of the 2/3. That's a solid draw here. Now we've got a turn 2 play. Those are terrible draws here. If I get the untapped mana, so I could intervention on 4 if I need to. Dwarven Castle Guard, turn 2 from our opponent. Here's X Death. What a clump. We milled 3 lands off Revelation and then drew 2 more in a row. Should I combat trick my X-Death here? And this game's going to play out really slow for us, no matter what right now, so I think it's fine to just not attack. There were 2 more lands in the top 3. Actually, there's no confirmation at all that they have a combat trick here, because they also just can't send a 2/1 into a 3/3. I was overthinking that. So we do just jam the 3 damage in. Alright, well, we fought through a whole chunk of lands already this game, so I think our land to non-land ratio is already very skewed towards spells for the rest of this game, which is really nice. There's Fat Chocobo off the top. Zach is really annoying, because as long as they have 1 mana up, which is going to be pretty easy for them to have from this point on, they can just spend 1 mana to make me kill Zach with Sephiroth's intervention instead of their best creature. And they put a +1/+1 counter on it as well. It's +1/+1 counter and indestructible. So they get to blank one removal spell this game. Fate of the Suncrest on the Fat Chocobo. Not too bad for me. Obviously not ideal, though. Find a land here, drop it for the Chocobo. They are tapped out of using Zac right now, but if I kill the Castle Guard, it replaces itself with a 1/1 anyway. Then they could double block the Chocobo, but if they double block the Chocobo, then I'm killing both their creatures. This is such a weird Sephiroth's Intervention play, but I would like to be pushing damage here while their board is tiny. And next turn, I'm just going to tap out all 7 mana on Revelation, most likely. And it's not even super worth holding the Intervention for their big bomb creature because we know Zac can just save it anyway. So they'll just wait to play a particularly important creature until they have the extra mana up to protect it with Zac. And there's a Chocobo kick, luckily. So they still have one removal spell for later. Oh, I should have played land first. I'm trying to like bluff stuff here because they're probably holding up instants. But it's not so important to bluff things that I shouldn't have like gotten my 1 extra power here. Hey, I get to kill Zac. Let's go. Yeah, I could have killed Zac in the 1/1 if I played this, but I'm fine. So what are they on here? Are they just stuck on some double green cards of their own? I guess a 4/3 is better than a 2/3. This is the issue with Bartz and Boca that I was talking about in this deck, though. I was like, I guess it's still a 4/3 worst case scenario, but a 5 mana 4/3 is pretty mediocre, and it will be a 5 mana 4/3 probably about half the time, because we only have like 3 bird producing cards. It's like 2 Fat Chocobo and 1 Sausage Chocobo. If we draw any non-land, though, we play that instead of Bartz and Boko for the turn. That is pretty monumentally good here. Guess we see if we can draw removal on Shinra Reinforcements first. At 8 life, it is a genuine threat here. We did not draw removal. Alright, they're going to surveil 1. We're going to blow up the Aura Site. We're going to get back an X step, and in the end step, that's going to turn into a Giant Trampler, and we'll have 2 Giant Tramplers, a 7/7, and however big this is going to be. A 7/3? Let's go. Alright, concession from our opponent. I have no idea what was stuck in their hand there. They were just not hitting lands. We know that, at least. So maybe it was all like 5 mana or more stuff. But they also had the Aura Site as the 5th mana. Had to be like double green cards or something really weird. I don't know. 1-1, heading into game 3. This game's going to be a turn 2 Saz's Chocobo, so no attack with it on turn 2, sadly. But that's the smallest attack anyway, the least important attack. We just lose on the first 1 damage swing. Town Greeter, welcome to the board, mill 4. No lands, brutal. They milled a Sephiroth and a Saz's Chocobo and an Ultima as well. But we know they're playing black because they milled the Sephiroth, so they could have Graveyard Recursion, and that would obviously not be ideal. Then they have some very powerful options to choose from, primarily Sephiroth being the scariest of the cards. 3/3 drains me for life, draws them cards. Really efficient stuff. Ultima is decent too, but Ultima's a lot less efficient. Just like a 5 mana 4/4 flyer is like, yeah, that's fine. Just a big evasive threat. There's Ignis, so super rampy stuff going on over there. Getting our damage in here. I can hold up Sephiroth's Intervention or drop a 1/1 Death Touch. I don't really need to be blocking with a Death Toucher right now, and it's not a good attacker into a Town Greeter, so I'm just going to hold up Intervention. Just a crack in case of emergency spell. Sure. Well, they got some blue mana up here, so Bartz and Boko's probably getting countered. I don't have any bait for their counterspell, though, because if I go for Ochu and the counterspell is the counter unless I pay X, they couldn't counter the Ochu even if they wanted to. I'll just go for it here. If this is instant speed removal on Saz's Chocobo, that's pretty sad, too. Okay. Syncopate is fine. They're down to 10. Forest Cycle at T-Rexar, they stopped drawing the lands they needed, so there goes 1/6/6, turning into a land to play the other ones, because that's 5 spells in their hand if they had to Forest Cycle that. It's a lot of action over there, a lot of gas. Missing the land drops here is pretty annoying against Syncopate, plus just with Saz's Chocobo, the fact that it hasn't gotten any bigger in so long. It's pretty frustrating. Well, we can send the swing in, and if their plan is some kind of combat trick, we can ruin it with Sephiroth's Intervention. Cool. And then I guess I'm on Ochu now that the 1/1's gone, and they can't counter this with the counter unless I pay 3. Or counter unless I pay 2, even. I guess I have the mana for both, so we just let them Syncopate reinforcements. Yeah. That gets the Syncopate out of the way for Fat Chocobo or Intervention later, if they do have it. They don't have the Syncopate, they have the ramp spell, Precious Wanderings, so they're going to ramp into some really big creature. Probably a second copy of T-Rexar would be the most likely, as that is a common, but there are plenty of other cards they could have here that would be infinitely worse for me if they've got one of the big bomb rares. This game could flip on its head here. Retrieve the Esper and a Merchant. Okay, just a couple extra blockers here to slow us down. There's a Vanille, which is pretty nice. I'm definitely picking up a land because it has been way too long since I hit one of those. Multiple 3/3s here is pretty annoying. Am I really on Vanille, or am I just on a Sephiroth's Intervention so I can attack with the Chocobo as well as the Death Toucher this turn? I guess it's still bad if they triple block the Chocobo. Yeah, no, I need to hit mana. This is getting ridiculous. So Vanille into another green. Got them down to 7 with the Death Touch swing. They don't want to trade anybody off into that. Retrieve the Esper, just get a 5/5 now. Well, when we get to 7, the Behemoth can blow that up. I don't know if we're ever getting to 7, though, at this rate. Still no Chocobo attacks. Probably go Fat Chocobo first and then start blowing up all the blockers and sending in the squad. I mean, giving the whole board Trample next turn could find lethal out of nowhere with Sephiroth's Intervention, because we can blow up a blocker on something where they're only blocking like one creature. And then all the damage tramples through. Technically, hiding information from your opponent, pretending to have combat tricks and stuff, waiting to play Fat Chocobo until main phase 2 is the better play. But I played it out lazy here. Alright, if they tap out for Retrieve the Esper, they have 4 blockers. They block our 4 biggest creatures. Oh god, do they have that plus land? Ooh, they have that plus 7/7. Okay, also bad. But if we do the math here, this is 5 blockers, which means one of our creatures gets in for 2. Okay, they block the 4/5 and the 4/4 with a 7/7 and a 7/5. Literally, if I drew a land, this would be lethal, I think. But it's not, because I didn't. Because they can go block, block. I can get one of these to trample over for 4, which puts them to 3 life, but their other blocks are block, 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 and then that 3 life, they only take 2. But if I drew a land, this would be 5 damage, so it'd be 5 damage through the trample, and then the final 2 damage from the reinforcements that gets in unblocked. That's really irritating. If I don't intervention the Titan, they're getting 1, 2 lands on the board tapped. That's not the end of the world. Chapter 3 is kind of the end of the world. But I think I just need to final days, and then I have the go wide lethal next turn instead. If they don't interact with my board, it's the best I can do, because I don't have lethal this turn. This is really wild. We've hit 6 lands total. 23 cards deep. Okay, draw 4. The odds of them having some kind of instant speed interaction off of that draw 4 is pretty high, which can blow up our attempt at lethal this turn and just wipe our board. Okay, well now they only have 1 mana up. So I'm back to being able to actually attempt the lethal here. If they have interaction for a single mana, they can ruin this. But I'm going to go for it here. If it gets ruined, they kill a bunch of our creatures, and I flash back the final days. However, if it does get ruined, we do still die to the Summon Titan's ability. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 creatures get through, yes, and our biggest creature gets through with Trample off of Sephiroth's intervention. This is lethal unless they have a great piece of 1 mana interaction. Okay. Looks like it's lethal. That was really, really sketchy there. Titan was about to pop off on us. So if they had... I don't know what they could have for a single mana. But before they tapped out for the Merchant, like if they had just like the 2 mana bounce a creature back to its hand card and they bounced the Choco in response to me killing their blocker, we would lose that game pretty hard, because I'm pretty sure they'd have a lethal crackback off of the plus a million, plus all the blocks that go favorably for them. So that was a bit sketchy, but we still get there in the end. We are 2-1 heading into game 4. Mediocre hand to start off game 4 here, but it's fine. Just like a little death toucher, draw a spell, or removal spell. Sure. We can use the draw spell to make sure we're drawing just any non-land pretty much, and I'll be happy. Saz's Chocobo turn 3. Sad, but definitely the pick with Bart's and Boko in hand. But it has missed out on a landfall trigger here. Just the Town Greeter pick up a Mountain. It's a very multicolored deck from our opponent. Don't have the double black for Cornered by Black Mages. That's a little awkward. Next turn I can play Bart's and Boko, which will be really good if they don't interact with Saz's Chocobo immediately. We just go land, Bart's and Boko, kill this 1/1, swing in. If they play a better creature than the 1/1, obviously we'll try to kill that, but it'll have to be 2 or less toughness to die to Saz's Chocobo at this point. Little baby Chocobo is still pretty small. Vanille's not bad either. And I suppose I don't care too much about killing just the 1/1 when Vanille can kill something bigger later. And worst case scenario, Vanille picks up this black-green source, which is not bad because I do have a double black spell, so I guess we're probably on Vanille here. And if they do have some kind of trick to kill Saz's Chocobo, we can pick up the Chocobo instead. They do not. Alright. We could get syncopated too, that's also always a possibility. But Vanille does resolve. Get the Black Source or get a Shinra Reinforcements? That is an interesting little conundrum. I think I'm just getting the Black Source. I think if the non-creature spell were any better than Shinra Reinforcements, or the non-land spell were any better than Shinra Reinforcements, I'd probably choose it. But that's pretty average here. And I'm just going to be tapping out for this, and then tapping out for removal, and so on for a while. So 1 power away from Bartz and Boko killing Joshua, so I suppose this is a Sephiroth's intervention play instead. Yeah, feels like it. Tap land, since I'm not using the double black spell this turn. I'm not going to be using the untapped mana anyway. Snow. Snow I can kill with Bartz and Boko. Don't you dare. They highlighted Saz's Chocobo. Oh. 5 mana 4/3 is going to get on my nerves. Legend Rule on Vanille. You do hate to see that. I need 8 mana for this this Ochu. Never mind, Legend Rule on Vanille is so fine. I can Vanille for Vanille, which is funny, but doesn't matter until this Vanille dies. Wow, okay, I think I could justify Chocobo over Marlboro at this point. A 4/4, they lose 3 life and discard a card. Oh, they lose 2 life. Still very impactful. Chocobo, we get rid of Summoning Sickness immediately, and it's going to be 1 power. That does make Bartz and Boko at least kill Town Greeter to unlock Cornered by Black Mages. Close. I'm still going to go for the Chocobo, though, because when you put it that way, there is still value to Bartz and Boko just shooting the 1/1 even. I'll play the land first here to have a little more for Syncopate. Still can't pay for a Syncopate for 4. The most likely thing feels like our opponent just has instant speed removal and kills our Saz's Chocobo in response to this. They do not, though. Well, we'll see what they have. If it's a really good flash creature, I can kill it main phase 2. What is the hand? Oh no. Is it a board wipe? Or is it garbage? It's garbage. All right, I don't know what was in their hand, but apparently it was not good. We are 3-1. We have locked in our millionth at least 50-50 record in this draft format. It's been going really well for us, and I don't know how. Because a lot of these drafts have started off like this one where I just immediately get crushed in game 1, and I'm like, all right, I don't know about this deck. I don't know how far this is going to take it. And then it's just like, whoops. We've got at least 3 wins. Our worst case scenario is a 50-50 record. It's been a crazy set so far. We'll take those. It's 3-1 heading into game number 5. Turn 1 Saz's Chocobo. See, this explains how many turn 1 Saz's Chocobos I've been playing from our side of the board, seeing our opponents dropping those Chocobos out turn 1 every game. It's because there's hidden text on the card. If you draft 1 copy, it's always in your opening hand. Okay, I would have to kick this. There's no way it's worth skipping a land right now to kill that 2/2. If I could kill the 2/2 without picking up a land, I think it would be worth it here just for curve purposes. I wouldn't be casting the kick till turn 6 from that point on anyway. Tidus is pretty easily killable by a Chocobo kick later, so I don't feel the need to kick him immediately over expanding our board. But I'll probably end up killing him next turn, now that X-Death is down. if I can wait the maximum amount of time, I can actually just get value from kicking Chocobo Kick, picking up a land just to be able to get more counters on Sausage Chocobo. Do your thing, Tidus. I am in an incredible position to race because my deck is absolutely full of these 3-mana life gain creatures, and Bards and Boka was a ridiculously good draw. Now I can kill Tidus and put a creature on the board in the same turn. This was the turn I was going to want to kick Tidus before he gets any bigger. Losing an X death here is moderately sad, but we only have the 1 mill card in our hand, so it is likely to be a really long time till it's a big trampler anyway. So just clearing a bit of the board here feels perfectly reasonable to me. Squall. Okay, well there's the Chocobo Kick targets to stop them from reanimating anybody. And we have perfect mana to do that, and Shinra Reinforcements in the same turn. Okay, I don't have to kick Chocobo Kick, so I think I probably shouldn't. There's the tiniest argument in the world towards kicking it, and that argument is that I do have a good landfall ability on the board, so if I don't draw any more lands from this point on, being able to know I'm landfalling 2 turns in a row is nice, but it's also really nice to have all the mana available, and specifically because I milled a 7-mana flashback, I think I really should keep all my lands out towards that. There's the concession from our opponent. That's another positive record. Some great work from Bards and Boka that game. I don't expect them to do much better than that through the rest of the draft because we're very low on Chocobos to where he's on the borderline, maybe even shouldn't be in the deck for how coin flip he's going to be here. But wow, did he work out that game, and we are now 4-1, guaranteed to have a positive run with this deck. I told you. That hidden text at the bottom here, you can't see it. But if your deck has 1 copy of Sausage Chocobo starts in your opening hand. It is so nice. We do need another black source for this hand to be real good, to actually have access to Cornered by Black Mages, but I'm probably never going to mulligan a hand that has turn 1 Sausage Chocobo. Green-red from our opponent. That is a mildly scary color pair to see because they have a lot of cheap removal. If they have the 1 mana deal 2, it's goodbye Chocobo. I'm not in love with these draws because we don't have a 3 mana creature to play, but I can Revelation to make sure I have the land that I need for turn 4. Bards and Boko. I was really hoping to find a black source there. Looks like we're going to have to dig pretty far for that at this point. Our opponent keeps an opener with no plays till turn 4, and the reason is because they have a turn 4 Summoner's Grimoire, which is pretty good, but I have the Bards and Boko Sausage Chocobo combo again because RNGesus is very in my favor today, and they just concede on the spot. They're done with it, and that is a 5-win run with almost no resistance from our opponents, really. I think this is less our deck being particularly good and more us just being really lucky, because even the games that we had Chocobo plus Bards and Boko, all it would really take was 1 removal spell to kill the Sausage Chocobo at a more opportune time, and our deck would be much less threatening. So we have just been rolling through easily here. We are 5-1, heading into game number 7. This is our slowest hand so far. We don't have double black for Cornered by Black Mages unless I Swamp Cycle Marlborough. But if our opponent's too aggressive, I can definitely justify doing that. That also gets me more mana towards the Fat Chocobo. I should have played the Forest still, in case I top deck Saw's Chocobo. Oh my god, how on earth? What are the odds I get punished like that? That's actually wild. Okay, I'm gonna cycle this Marlborough with perfect mana for that. I'll miss out on a 1 damage swing, but that's fine. I'm gonna make sure I'm getting towards Fat Chocobo and Cornered by Black Mages. It's a good draw. That's so embarrassing. I knew as soon as I played that land, I'm like, well, there's the chance that we draw Chocobo, and that's the wrong land to play there. I was just preempting the cornered by black mages. But I don't need the double black till 3 for that anyway. No! And they ruined the Bartz and Boko too? Technically, this hand, you can't ruin the Bartz and Boko because we have Fat Chocobo coming up too, so that's not the end of the world. Now I feel less bad. If we played the Choco earlier, it still would have just gotten Thunder Magic before it dealt any damage. Went from max punishment to... okay. It didn't matter. Alright. Pretty much impossible they stop Bartz and Boko now. They would have to be really aggressive about blowing up Chocobos. I doubt they would want to just play 2 removal spells this turn. Juicy Vendor. I'm actually pretty happy with that from our opponent, because Vendor is the card I would rather kill. So now I get to kill the Vendor and get an attack here, because they only have a 1/1 left. Yeah, the equip move worked really well for me here. They're down to 13. Lightning Army of 1. Oh. Well. Never mind. If I can save the unconditional removal for a potential larger threat, I will. Alright, looks like we will be Sephiroth's interventioning, but we're killing a cat with Sephiroth. Which is brutal. Go to 1. Then I just cast a Resentful Revelation and they're dead. Clive is cool. But they're super dead on board. Match Tech Infantry. If they don't scoop, I'm going to kill them the cooler way here. Whee! A 6 and 1? We have been high rolling these hands here. That is every Bartz and Boko draw, I think, working out. No. We've drawn Bartz and Boko in almost every single game. I think one of the games we didn't get an enter trigger. But wow. These draws, that is 6 and 1. Heading into game 8, I did play that one out wrong because we played the wrong land for the Saz's Chocobo, but that was like one of the only games that we didn't have Saz's Chocobo in the opening hand, and then I top decked it turn 1, our first draw of the game. That's so funny. We'll see if we can do so again here. This time I can't play the wrong land. It's impossible because we're playing a dual land, so I can't make the same mistake here and miss on a Chocobo landfall trigger if we hit it. Alright. No Chocobo, so we'll play the second black source for the Thingamabob. Hectai's pretty annoying card. Particularly rough in multiples. Got a million 3-drop reinforcements here, so I'm just going to ditch one of those. Vanille is a great draw. Curves well here, plays decently against the Hectai's. Probably going to be picking up a Fat Chocobo, looks like. Got the 4th mana here. 4 out of 5, try to curve Vanille into Chocobo. Golgari mirror match, there's an X-Death of their own. We have the Chocobo kick for that if I need to. I think I would rather try to wait for a turn where we can double spell. So I can go reinforcements and Chocobo kick next turn if I want. Vanille finds another Vanille, which is hilarious, but Legend Rule means I need to wait till this one trades off and then play that one, and then we could loop them forever theoretically, but I think Fat Chocobo was just better. Because that kind of looping stuff is very, very situational. They're not like Gravediggers, where you can have like both out at the same time and just get extra value immediately. Because the Legend Rule has hands. Not attacking in here unless I Chocobo Kick. Could play Reinforcements and Chocobo Kick this turn, I guess. Swing 5. I don't think that's crazy. Resentful Revelations, get in the grave, please. No! 3 non-flashbacking spells? That's super rough. We didn't hit any lands there, and we didn't hit any of our 3 flashbackers. The Final Days is the really good flashbacker. Forgot about that card because I don't think we've drawn it since like game 1 or something. But that's what we would have really loved to mill. Okay, Heck Dice kind of doesn't matter at all at this point. I mean, it still does. We have 7 mana plays in this deck, our flashback abilities. If we draw into those, the fact that we lost land 6 will be sad for sure. We double block Vanille with 2 Heck Dies towards flipping X Death. A little annoying, but we get them out of the way for future swings. X-Death never gets any extra toughness. So the X-Death on our opponent's board flipping is not the end of the world. Fight on! Pick up 2 discard spells, Heck Dies and Marlborough. Fun. I'm down to 11 here. Imagine our best draw is still our get a 2/2 for each creature in our grave card. His Fat Chocobo will be engraved soon enough. We're like halfway through the deck. Plenty of decent draws still left, though. Lands are not them. Saza Chocobo's already milled, so there's nobody with like a permanent landfall buff. I probably am supposed to still just play this land against a revealed Marlborough in our opponent's hand. But yeah, we've run out of action here. They played too many card advantage plays of Heck Dies discarding cards from us and then Fight on reanimating it and discarding more cards from us. That was 3 Heck Dies cast and 1 Fight on as a draw 2. So we're behind in card advantage here, hoping to top deck war into 7 sneaky damage somehow. And now it's got to be 1,000,000 sneaky damage, and it's got to be fast, because the 6/6 trample is going to deal with us real quick. Lands are the worst draws at this point. We've got our 7 mana for anything in the deck that we draw into. You got it. We get absolutely destroyed by any instant speed removal here. On the T-Rexar. The Sentinel, we only get destroyed if they have double instant speed removal or a really good combat trick, so we can go for the triple block on Sentinel. Wanderings doesn't do anything unless they have Wanderings and instant speed removal. On all 3 cards in their hand are good. Okay. I mean, I guess it kills 1 more of our creatures, but it doesn't matter much. Lock Cold does a lot. And Quartered by Black Mages is horrible against Heck Dies. This is the worst matchup for it. Disappointing. Now they're going to gain 1,000,000 life. They're super stable. They're drawing and discarding every turn to set up their draws. I'm a couple seconds from conceding here, because I think there's no combination of cards that turns this game around, but I kind of don't need to scoop, because we're going to die in like 2 swings anyway. I have no blocks that matter. All I can do is chump right now, and I can't even chump the biggest creature. We lose another 2 off Marlboro hitting. Yeah, I'm just going to die next turn, so I can just play it out. Exile 3 spells, and they are probably literally the best 3 spells left in the deck. The Final Days, an X-Death, that would be an 11 power trampler, and a Bartz and Boko. I guess we lost all our Chocobos, so that Bartz and Boko would be a turn too late at this point. But that's still so rough. I do have another X-Death, but it's too late. I go to 7 life and die on the crackback. At 7 life, I can't survive without blocking with the X-Death, which is devastating. I guess I'll take it anyway. Might as well. But we just die this turn. Slightly sooner, and that's how we win this game. Yeah, I have no surviving block that doesn't involve losing X-Death. Can trade it into a Marlboro. If I trade it into T-Rexer, I take 7 and die still. So disappointing. I guess I should have traded it into an X-Death. Second shot at the final boss. Here we are on the play for the final game of Magic. This opening hand is sketchy. I can Swamp Cycle Marlboro, pick it up with Vanille, so I know I have a 4-5-6 curve, but we're not starting till turn 4. So, if our opponent is aggro, we kind of just die. But if it's like a slow matchup, this hand's very reasonable. Blue-white can be pretty aggressive, a lot of cheap flyers, and those are really hard to block. That's kind of the whole point of flying stuff. They're also hard to kill with cards like Chocobo Kick when you don't have any creatures on board, so they're going to get Surveilling every turn. Elmag Pixie is just insane. We've played it in a lot of decks. I've picked it very highly in draft, so this is not just, oh, it's beating me, so it's insane. It's, I think this is Blue's best uncommon, or at least one of them. Okay, if they have the right triggered ability with that Go-Go, I'm gonna go straight into the 6-3 bracket. Vanille does not hit anything super good. I'm gonna have to take Marlboro here. That's either gonna be our 6-drop if I naturally draw the swamp, or I'll have to just swamp cycle it towards actually dealing with one of these cards with Cornered by Black Mages. There's Sid. Sid doesn't do anything right now, at least. But very scary with all the job select cards. And Sid is the biggest beat stick they have, so I might have to kill Sid over killing anybody else at this rate. Wow. This mana is bad right now. I think I have to Swamp Cycle and Cornered by Black Mages. That is not a good turn. I can Chocobo Kick instead. I can kill the Pixie without picking up a land. Or... Ooh, hold up. You know what's pretty cute? Can I do both? I can pick up the Swamp here to get double black for the turn. Oh, that's definitely the best play. Okay, no, this turn's actually pretty good. We use Chocobo Kick for actual bonus here. Yeah, the kicker's actually just a straight up upside here. I maybe should have still just killed the Pixie. Guarantee I'm getting the flyer out of here. But that was pretty solid. I mean, this ability is really threatening. I definitely wanted to kill the 4/4, so I was hoping to kill the 4/4 in the Pixie, but there was no way to guarantee that. So if I did it differently, they probably still have the 4/4. I would kill the Pixie and the 2/4. Aerith Rescue Mission, 3 1/1s. Welcome, 1/1s. Well, there's the Black Source for Marlboro, but I can't afford to play it this turn or I'm not playing anybody to the board. I have to play Fat Chocobo for sure. I think I'm perfectly happy to trade Vanille into 2 1/1s. But they're probably not going to block here. Yeah, because they want to stay aggressive. If they have the 7 mana +1/+1 counter on everybody, that card is disgusting with Aerith's Rescue Mission, and we will lose. But they're only at 6 mana this turn, so they'll have to wait one more turn for that. But that card is, they get 4 1/1s, then put a +1/+1 counter on everybody, so they'd have 7 2/2s and the flyer there. Alright, double removal. Full damage here, full swings. Yeah, they are racing hard. Give me my 5. That's incredibly efficient removal. 3 mana to kill my 2 biggest creatures. Great draw there. I can Swamp Cycle and X Death here. That's another permanent into my grave. I could also Revelation, and if I hit exactly a swamp, then I can Revelation and X-Death, but that's really gambly. Or I can play X-Death without doing anything else, and play a tap land for the turn, which is also good. I have 2 mana for a counter unless they pay 2. Do I have to play defense here? I kinda think I do. I don't think I can send Vanille again. Yeah, if they play if their last card in hand is the like 4 1/1s counter on everybody, having Vanille to trade into one of those seems good. However, unless they're playing in full control mode, it isn't that. And they'd have to top deck a land for that. I'm at 10. I take an extra... I guess I do take an extra 3 for not attacking with Vanille. If they have removal on X-Death, but that's only if they have removal on X-Death. Otherwise, I just take 2, block 1, kill 1, or they just don't attack because I eat it for free. I just feel like I'm not in a position to not keep pushing damage at them because they still have the Pixie. I should have killed the Pixie with the Chocobo Kick. Do have a lot of draws that can win this off of the Revelation. Because we still have both our Sephiroth's Intervention. Kill the Pixie, gain 2 is like a super winning draw. But all of our reinforcements are decent draws too. Just got a lot of gas to dig to. Ooh, speaking of gas. Final days. I kind of want to pre-combat to see how many blockers I'm going to have on this board, to see like if the Marlboro resolves or not kind of stuff. I desperate enough for removal to play Revelation? I think I'm desperate enough to go Revelation over anything else here. Ayo. I'm going to see if this resolves or gets countered before I choose how I'm attacking here, because that definitely impacts how many blockers I want to hold up. Resolves? Alright. If that's the case, 3 1/1s at 10 life. Go on in, Vanille. I don't want to send X-Death in, because X-Death is getting genuinely close to flipping, and if X-Death flips, he's going to be a one-shot kill. He's at 4 out of 6 right now, but I have a mill 2 and a discard a creature both in my hand here. Alright, well, X-Death is going to get combat tricked here. I don't think I can afford to just non-block. +4/+4. It's kind of fine with me. If I can get that to go to X-Death instead of elsewhere. Wow. Really? What a loss. +4 for exactly 10. Normally, chumping a 1 with an 0/1 is terrible. Oh, that's so irritating. Because we have the tools to win this game so hard if it goes longer, but they needed just some random oops lethal card like that to win there. Oh, what a disappointing ending. Man. Got them down to 6-2. Yeah, I think that was generally the right idea for the most part that game. But there could have been somewhere that I took an extra point of damage I could have stopped for free or something. Where I would be at 1 here instead of exact C's like that. Oh, that's frustrating. I think this is the literal only card that could have turned into 10 damage off one spell there. So I don't think there's really a way to play around that there. Because it's just tremendously unlikely. It's the one card out of 300 or whatever that are in the set that does that there. Yeah, it happens. It's part of Magic. They had literally any other card, we're probably winning this over time with everything else. But 6-3 it is. It's kind of crazy because this deck just seems very average here. So it's crazy that I actually end up being bummed I don't get a 7-win run. But 6-1 into 6-3 will do that to you. It always sucks to get multiple rares in the end, or multiple losses in the end, right at the end of the draft like that. But hey, that was still a really good run for this deck. And yeah, again, crazy way to lose that last game. I don't think you can really play around exactly Auron's inspiration there. That's just the kind of thing that's going to happen. Yeah, this deck was deceptively good. Pretty huge overperformer to like Shinra reinforcements and stuff. Just the stuff that looked really average. Just the fact that it's gaining life while putting creatures on the board and synergizing with the self-mill stuff. Just so many little things about this card working really well. And having 5 different 3-mana gain 3 cards was making a lot of those races just deceptively like good for us. Cornered by Black Mages as well, getting random extra ping points of damage later was good. Bartz and Boko was an overperformer just because we got really lucky. We had 3 total birds in the deck, and we basically always got a trigger off Bartz and Boko, which is statistically quite unlikely, to the point where I was considering cutting him. So we got really lucky with the Bartz and Boko. And everything else, I think, is just like a great card I already thought was great for the most part. Yeah, great stuff from the deck. 6-3, still a really, really nice record here. Just a bummer to get the losses all in one stack at the end there when we could have got just another trophy run so quickly. Would have been nice, but 6-3 is still a really good record and a great prize out. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.